Good morning, students. As decided, today in this video, I'm going to talk about the art of characterization in The Tempest. So today I'll be dealing with, we're talking about characterization, and today we'll be dealing with the main characters in The Tempest. Preferably, I'm going to discuss facets of Prospero, Miranda, Caliban, and Ariel's character. Alright, so first we move on to Prospero. Okay, so Prospero is the character who is central to the story Tempest. So we will remember these keywords while we talk about Prospero. Okay, so he is the central character of Tempest. He can be considered to be the one who actually controls all the mechanisms in the story, or how the plot unfolds, how the plot executes in the story, how things happen. It is controlled by Prospero. Alright, so all the mechanisms. Mechanisms controlled by him. Okay, so I already told you that he has this godlike personality that makes him very distant at times from the other humans or other entities in the story. Okay, and obviously he's placed above the common man. Okay, because why the most important thing about his godlike personality is his profound wisdom. Okay, so his profound wisdom. Therefore, he might be also said that just because he is placed high above all the other human characters, or maybe not so human characters, he can be considered to be not so likable. Alright, he might be very unloved as well. Okay, because all comes from, we always see God is someone who I will say that in reality people always don't associate a sort of fondness. Okay, some people are too devoted to him, some people are absolutely not. Therefore we find atheists and devotees and people who practice theism. Alright, so which is absolute devoted to God. Okay, so that is why even we have that same kind of understanding regarding Prospero's character. Okay, so just because he's got this profoundly wise mentality or environment about him, aura about him, we can say he dominates people. Okay, he dominates. And who does he dominate? Okay, well, when he came to that magical island, he is said to have released the spirits who were captured by the evil witch Sycorax, right? And today itself we read about it that when he had released them, he did something so that they could obey him. He kept them be obedient towards him. Okay, he made them to be obedient towards him and always took care of them only if they did his bidding, did his work for him. Okay, so that's why I would say he's got this dominant personality by which he exercises control over other lesser creatures. Okay, so he can be always called that superior man. Okay, who is all powerful, who gains that power, who knows how to channelize that power, and how he can distribute his power and rule over things wisely. Okay, so that is who Prospero can be. He is got this tyrant-like mentality when he wants to dominate over other lesser creatures, which includes the spirits and Ariel, their chief, along with the deformed Caliban, who resembles a demon-like monster, or any monster to be specific. Okay, so when he exercises his power over them. He actually behaves in a very tyrannical manner. It's like a tyrant who will take no for an answer. He can resemble what we call the white supremacy, that idea of white supremacy, that the ones that have this who used to colonize other, colonize people. We had this imperial past. India had this, was ruled by the British people, and we had an imperial past where we had seen our share of struggles. So Prospero somewhat represents that white supremacy, and till now what we can say that he carries on that white man's burden even in the contemporary world, where every dominant person who represents that community or comes from that community would be taken to be someone who we always associate discrimination with, that this person is always going to marginalize others or discriminate others. So Prospero also holds this sort of Shakespeare created him to be in such a way, because Caliban, whom he keeps marginalized and discriminates against, represents the other side of community who is usually looked down upon. Okay, so this is where Prospero has that, godlike personality, or maybe in other ways, and if we interpret it in other terms, he's got this white man supremacy all about him, that imperialist man, the superior man who thinks of himself to have all the power in the world and can do anything to keep others discriminated against. Okay, so this is one side to his character. There is another side to him as well, which is that of the affectionate father. Alright, now Miranda means the world to him. His little daughter with whom he was sent away to the island, and his life is like wrapped around in his daughter. Miranda is like the world to him. So he does everything in his power in order to protect Miranda, to take care of Miranda. So in a place, he always, throughout the story or throughout the play, initial play, we can see that he always talks about how much does he love his daughter. His abundant love for her just is expressed throughout the story. Okay, even the reason why he treats Caliban in that way, a part of it because Caliban had mistreated Miranda. So this is the reason why the hatred towards Caliban or dislike towards Caliban had come about in Prospero. Okay, so, but we cannot always say, just like I said in the online sessions, that we cannot call Shakespeare's characters to be absolutely evil or absolutely good. There is a grey side to it. Okay, so that is why Prospero always tries to look after the well-being of others. Okay, this is one of his innate qualities that doesn't go away. Okay, it doesn't leave him. Alright, so he looks after the well-being. So we should remember this as well. Okay, and in his own way, because how do we know he does good to the others? He liberated the spirits from which Sycorax had imprisoned, and he also at a place, obviously having that dislike for Caliban, he always tried to civilize him. He thought Caliban should be what the society expects him to be, a proper civilized person, or maybe change him into something good. That is what he always wanted. He wanted to civilize, change Caliban's brutal ways, heinous ways. Okay, so therefore we understand that his relations with all these people, whether it is with Ariel or Caliban, okay, so it's not always about being mistreating them. Okay, it's all about just staying just trying to do good to the others. All right, so this is about Prospero that we can learn. Other than that, we also get to understand this, that he is the others who are under his service, under his compulsion, they are unable to love him. So at times he comes off as somebody who is unloved, okay, because the manner in which he takes his subjects to be. Alright, so other than this, if we move on to who he was when he was the Duke of Milan, he was, one word that comes to my mind when I talk about Prospero regarding his dukedom is that he was very negligent. He was negligent of the affairs. He didn't want to think about all that. Obviously, he's a duke. He has the responsibility of so many people under him, the welfare of all these people. And who does he give all these to? His brother Antonio. And Antonio, he is the usurper and he dethrones Prospero. And definitely this happens because of his negligence. But then when he got to know about all these things, he resolves again to fight for it and win back everything else only for the sake of his daughter Miranda. Alright, so this is who he is. Alright, and obviously another thing, he's got this profound wisdom since he is like a know-it-all. So he's an omniscient. Okay, so one who knows everything. So that's who Prospero is. And another factor that really is very evident about this man, about this character, is his ability to forgive. So he comes across as this great man with a big heart, and he forgives Antonio and Alonso and Sebastian for going against him, okay, for conspirating against him, for mistreating his daughter and him and taking away everything. So, but then we won't say that his ability to forgive, when he forgives, he has let go of everything. He hasn't. There is still anger left in him. Through some of his dialogues in the play, we come to understand of that. Okay. So in the story, anywhere we don't find Prospero reconciling with his brother, or maybe they don't become a family, a happy family after that, living happily after. It doesn't happen so in this way. Okay, but then also he has this contempt for him, and the forgiveness that he had just shown, the act of forgiveness was just like a verbal pardon for him. Alright, so that is it. And after this, a very basic thing about Prospero, if we have to consider him to be very godlike, you know, if I do that, it seems that he has possessed all the great powers that a person or can have, or a person wishes of. Okay, he's got all those great powers, but he never, in spite of being profoundly wise and having a lot of wisdom and being omniscient, he fails to use it correctly. Okay, so he did not make use of the power that he had in the appropriate manner. So that is what we can also point out regarding his character. Okay. His inappropriate use of power. Why? Because he comes off as this tyrannical character, right, who mistreats Caliban, and then also he dominates over the other spirits, Ariel. Okay, so what we can understand, just like I said, not all the characters can be completely white, completely black. So there is some grey substance out there in every character. Okay, so this is what Shakespeare wanted to express to the character of Prospero, is that even though he has all these great powers, he can be called the superior man, he also possesses the human weakness. That is why he commits all these mistakes, and he also has follies. Okay, so definitely he's also born of experience, and he's also weak as a human. He cannot be godlike in all the matter. He's just godlike. He cannot be God. He still has that human weakness about him. And this is what, whatever he expressed in the entire story, it was what Shakespeare himself wanted to say to the society, to the mass, to the public, to the audience. Okay, so therefore we can say that Prospero was a true spokesperson of the playwright, of Shakespeare himself. He was the voice of Shakespeare. So that is what I'm going to conclude about Prospero's character right now. So we've talked much about Prospero and all his characteristics. Now in a bit, in the next 15 minutes, we are going to discuss more about the other important characters who are less important than Prospero, but equally they have a huge role to play in the execution of the plot. My next character that we are going to talk about is Miranda, who is Prospero's daughter.